He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
And we're back.
We're back.
On the air, second week of January. Mm-hmm. And I got shit from the people, from the viewers, from
what is it this time?
Okay? That I didn't say your name.
Oh, really? Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, like
they must have forgot who I was from the previous podcast.
For the other,
I'm just kidding.
8 or 9, yeah. But anyway, I got you. A guy says, "Hey, who's that wonderful girl? Why are you telling me who she is?" I'm thinking to myself, you want to slip into her DMs? I mean, like, what's going on here? I mean, like, yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, it's Jan. Jan from our office is here.
Hey.
We're not giving out full names and spellings because we don't need any doxing. The only doxing is the Office of Butler Mortgage. You can come here. I'll deal with you.
That's a don't come.
But just me, just me. Okay. I mean, I guess I'm a known person. Okay. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's Jan. It's the second week of January.
It is.
And hell's a poppin'. So we got this property tax shit, right?
Oh my God.
Like, I mean, hold on. I've done a lot of commenting on it, mm-hmm. and some people come back at me and say, well, no, it's not as much as you think. It's just because, we're working on 2016 values, and there's this and the fact that in some cities the property tax is already very, very low. And I go, hold on a second. Okay. Like there is no end of increases. Okay. And here's the thing. It affects everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody lives in something. I mean, there's, except for the poor people in the tents. Okay.
Yeah.
It has a very broad effect. Mm. And, you think about it. Like, if you're a landlord and you get an increase to your condo unit.
Guess what? Your rent's going up.
Eventually.
Someone's rent is going up.
Like, it's just math at the end of the day. And so it's big numbers. Let me tell you the really kind of wild thing that happened in Toronto. Mayor Olivia Chow, she announced like a 10.5% increase in property tax. So, of course, people crap themselves. Okay,
right.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah. She's a communist, blah, blah, blah. Look, I mean, I firmly believe that that inflation and all kinds of stuff has an impact. Of course it does. Mm-hmm. And, she's new. There's been mistakes made in the past. Mm-hmm. So I'm not just saying it's just on her, but here's an interesting technique she tried. Mm-hmm. Okay. She said, I'm going to raise it 10.5%. And the federal government, the government in Ottawa, mm-hmm. needs to give me $250 million, $250 million, or fuck it, I'm going to raise it to 16 and something. Okay, like, whoa, fuck. It's like, God. We're going to do property tax blackmail on the federal government? Like, what the hell's going on here? Okay, like.
That's crazy.
Well, a lot of people said, well, why isn't she, she really is under the provincial government, so why the hell is she talking about the federal government? Mm-hmm. Well, she just cut a sweet deal with Rob Ford, the Premier of Ontario, about some other stuff they were doing. So I guess she doesn't want to rock the boat on Ontario right now because she's just cut some deals. But that's like, I've never heard of that before in my life. I'm old. I never heard of any mayor saying, we're going to raise it 10.5%, and if you bastards don't come up with $250 million, I'm going to go 16%. So fuck y'all. I mean, I just have never heard that before. That's like,
it's so bizarre.
It's just different. I mean, really different. Now, why does, everybody gets pissed off at taxes. And some people have actually said, you're taking the easy route, Ron. I mean, everybody's pissed off when their property taxes go up. And there's been inflation. There's been a lot of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And, so why is it, why does it make you so mad? Oh, and by the way, it's just not Toronto. Mm-hmm. It's everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere, okay? it's Hamilton. I think Hamilton was 14%. I think it was like 7.8 in maybe Calgary. Vancouver's up. Montreal's up. Maritimes is going up. This is the time of year, right? January's the time of year. So, oh shit. There's this little town in BC. Mm-hmm. It's little. It's a little town. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's a weird name. It's called Osoyoos. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Osoyoos, BC, the council just proposed to raise property tax 39%.
Oh my God.
Oh
my goodness.
Shit. Oh, they're pissed off at Osoyoos. Okay.
Yeah.
I've actually been to Osoyoos. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like I drove through Osoyoos once. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so I actually know where it is. By the way, it's the only actual certified climate as a desert in Canada. Like Arizona and like Palm Springs and stuff. A desert. It's a real desert.
No way.
Yeah. The rainfall's so low. There's certain categories of dryness, and Osoyoos makes it, even though it's in Canada. It's a desert. Okay. Yeah. And it's apparently popular because it's obviously nice weather. Mm-hmm. In the summertime, it's pretty hot. Hot. I think it was like 120 degrees once this year. It's like, so it's. Oh my God. But it's, if it's hot, sunshine, people like sunshine, right?
Of course,
Canadians love sunshine. Mm-hmm. We're like Russians, right? Like, I mean, when the summer is so hits and it's so cold for so long and so miserable for so long, when the summer hits, we all go nuts like the Russians, okay? We just flee everywhere to the countryside.
Of course.
So every place in Canada, big property tax increases. Big, okay? And laid at the feet of inflation, laid at the feet of other governments, the mayors all say, no, it's not our fault. And sure, there has been inflation. Mm-hmm. But I got to start asking some questions, okay? Mm-hmm. We all interact with somebody who works for a city once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, the police work for a city, right? Mm-hmm. Hopefully we're not getting taken away. Like, we're not in the back of the squad car, but like, we all interact with, sometimes we interact with every kind of different city worker, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you scratch your head and you say, okay, is this thing really being well run? Okay, because how business is. If times are tough and expenses are going through the roof, you got to find ways to cut, right? Mm-hmm. That's the way every business is. You work for other places besides Butler Mortgage.
Yeah.
There's got to be, people got to, if something's expenses are running away, you got to find a way to cut, right?
Of course, yeah.
Have you ever heard of the city cutting anything?
No.
No one ever has heard of the city cutting everything.
It's only going up.
It only goes up. Like there's a famous old quote. I'm gonna change it up a little bit. There's a famous quote that as long as there's somebody left to take the money from, government just keeps on going. Okay, like why would you cut?
Right. Yeah.
Like the taxpayer has got like infinite pockets is the concept, right? So I'm not mad at cities, but I got a feeling there's some waste going on. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I got shit just today. I got shit for saying that we got a crosstown LRT. They don't even know when the hell it's going to finish.
Oh God.
Like what? Right?
Yeah.
Like, fuck the train that never shows up. Billions of dollars later.
I live close to one of the stations, and like you'll see them testing, and then it's like it works. Let's just get it going.
Just finish. just fucking finish. Just finish, you fuckers. Okay.
Freaking open it.
Just open it. Okay. But no, it's not open.
Yeah.
And when you ask the guy who's in charge of it when it's going to open, he says, "Well, I'll come back in 3 months. We may have an idea."
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty fucked up when you're already 2 years in the hole, and like maybe 3 years. I think 3 years in the hole. And like anyway. So then somebody gave me shit. Said, "No, you're wrong. That's provincial. That's not. That's even though it's in Toronto, it's provincial. So blame the province." All right, I got a lot of blame to go around. Yeah. But here's what I do know: that I am sure that if we just put together a committee of 5 working people, just average people who work at average jobs, and we walk them around City Hall, and we walk them around the departments, and I got a feeling that sooner or later they'd make a suggestion that, hey,
is that necessary?
I don't think anything's going on over there. Yeah. Okay, nothing's really happening in that department. Like,
do you really need that?
Or do we need all these people? Okay, like by the way, I'm not talking about fewer cops on the beat. You know, I'm not I'm not talking about fewer social workers who are actually helping people every day. I'm not talking about the people who answer the phones to try to help you if you have a problem, right? No, let's keep all them in place, okay? Maybe what we should do is take some of their managers and put them on the phones, okay? Like, because at the end of the day, when I post this stuff and when I get the feedback in social media, it's always the same thing. Yeah, I used to work in city government, and there's some good people there. But there's so many managers doing so little that the money's just pissed away. Okay, so I mean,
it's so sad to hear.
If we're gonna raise taxes, why don't we just stop and see if there's some cuts we can make first? Cut the expenses, cut the overheads. Because here's one thing we know about government in Canada: there's a higher number of people there every single year.
Yeah,
never goes backwards. Not for years and years. Not for 9 years. Hasn't gone backwards. So always more people. All right. What's the news on rates? We'll think about rates for a second. Now, it's kind of interesting. You and I have been talking about this for a couple of shows about the fact that bond yields have come down. They spiked a little bit, back up about 20 beeps, but they are still way down from where they were 2.5 months ago. And the rates don't seem to be coming down fast enough. Okay, they just don't seem to be well. Guess what? They woke up. This week they woke up. Just like we always talk about. We've said it all the time. Break. Yeah, everybody's back. And like we've always said, nobody's like giving the rates away in December or November when it's slow, but when the spring real estate market's coming, everybody starts thinking about it.
Like, let's do it.
Let's get going. Yeah. Okay. And lo and behold, rate decreases everywhere. We just announced a new low in CMHC insured purchase, 5-year fixed. 5-year fixed, just for Ontario, 464.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we got 3-year CMHC insured now, 499.
Oh.
So, I kept talking about breakthroughs on rates. There'll be a lot more rates in the 4s, and we've got a lot more rates in the 4s. Not everybody does. Not everybody does, but we do. And again, remember, I said high ratio insured purchase, CMHC approved, a very specific category. Used to be a huge category. When I started the business, that was 40% of all mortgages. Okay. Wow. Not anymore. So that's a long story behind that. But yeah, rates are coming down. They will continue to come down. There'll be bumps. Sometimes they'll take a little jump up.
Yeah.
But it's not linear, as I keep saying over and over. Nobody listens. Some people listen. Some people, I get social media posts. No, you're wrong. It's going to go back up again. Okay, whatever. Okay, fine. But really, in the long term, rates are going to come down. Not rock bottom rates. Those days are done.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But rates are going to come down. And we're seeing it today. Banks generally are
It's like a little glimmer of hope.
Yeah, it's maybe a clear light now, but it's the light at the end of the tunnel that's not a train. It's actually the other side of the tunnel. Okay, so we got that coming.
See, it's not all bad news.
No, it's not always all bad news on the Angry Mortgage podcast. Although we sometimes we get angry. Like if I tell you what, if I lived in a Soyuz, I'd be fucking angry. I mean, holy shit, 39% property tax increases. I'd start looking to talk to people if it was me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, something interesting. We've touched on it a bit before in previous shows, but take a little closer look at it. We had a fascinating incident today where we discovered a report of one single company, Mortgage Investment Corporation. We've talked about that before. Private mortgage companies, they bring it up. Everybody invests in them, like human beings invest in them. And they lend money out on riskier stuff, like not as good credit, not as provable income. Sometimes no income check, sometimes, and sometimes a construction situation that's a little bit riskier. In other words, sum it up, they're doing stuff that banks will not do.
Got it.
And they're also doing stuff that alternative lenders like Home Trust and EQ Bank, where they're regulated, they're careful, okay? They won't do them. So now we have one particular mortgage investment corporation has filed in the last 7 business days since the year started, like since the first of the year. They have filed 27 power of sale notices. Now, for
Holy
people in other provinces, that's the same as foreclosures, same as bank ordered sales in British Columbia.
Oh my God.
27 in 7 days, one company.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's
some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some, now.
Yikes.
Everybody out there is screaming like, "Well, who is it? Who are these fuckers?" Okay, all right.
Name drop.
Okay. Like, I don't know. Name names, you fat fuck. Okay,
We're not going to do that.
the people that got the information from, I promised I would not reveal the name. That's fine. It will, like, everything comes out eventually.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they'll find out.
But
soon.
I thought it was a very, very interesting fact that we're seeing this sudden jump. And we've been watching it. Like we talked about in December, November,
Yeah.
it's growing. I got it. I think prediction's a crap business, as you know, because it's crap. Okay.
I'm gonna get that on a mug for you.
Yeah. Prediction's a crap business. Here's your coffee. I think this will be the record year for the last maybe 10 years in power sales.
Wow.
And foreclosures in Ontario, probably British Columbia. Definitely Ontario. But maybe it's not as horrible a news story as we think. So because I just took a little bit more of a look at these particular power cells, these particular houses. And it's interesting, it's not with a bank. So the bank's power cells are not going through the roof, not even close. I mean, they're still, their 90-day default rates are still very, very, very low, lower than normal, in fact, still to this day. So two things. The changes in mortgage rules since 2016, the tightening for banks, okay, both through Basel I, Basel II, Basel III, and all the different rules that our bank regulator, the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions, that's the bank regulator in Canada, they put in a bunch of changes. It's been tightening. I actually believe it's created a super select category in Canada now of the people who are getting mortgages from banks.
Right.
They got to be really, really fucking good. Okay, they're like much better borrowers than they were, much more solid, much more resources.
Yeah.
Better borrowers. Now, you might say, well, that's a good thing, right? Well, it's good for the banks, okay?
Yeah.
But it also means that some marginal people are pushed out who would normally be able to get a mortgage.
Yeah.
That's a topic for another show. But what's going on with these power sales? Not with banks, not with alternative lenders. It's with these private companies. And they are taking up the slack from this super select category, from the fact the regulators made it so tough for all sorts of financial institutions to lend to these people. And when you look at these people who are in trouble, look at the homes that are coming into power sale, there's a pattern. The pattern is a lot of investment kind of things. Okay. A lot of things that look like they were bought, and they were bought like a year ago, year and a half ago, kind of at the market high, because we all know prices are down in 905 and a little bit 406. Some parts of 905 really down. I was looking at numbers like yesterday. Durham region. Yeah. That's the sort of eastern, northern part of GTA. Ajax, Pickering, Oshawa, stuff like that. Prices may be down. These are just estimates. Prices down from the high at the end of 2021 by $366,000.
Ouch.
Single family. That's single family.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fucking awful.
That's brutal.
But if you're just sitting there paying your mortgage, living there, kids are going to school, and you got another 3 years going on your 5-year fix, and you're okay with your payment.
Yeah.
It ain't the end of the world, right?
Right.
Like you're not selling the house.
Right.
But if you got your mortgage from one of these private companies, from one of these mortgage investment corporations, and you were just planning on doing a bit of a flip, or you were planning on doing even worse, a reno flip, okay, that's where you're going to put lipstick on the pig, okay? Do women hate that phrase? I don't know.
Never
because I got that from Sarah Palin. Like that's somebody who that's the woman who actually ran for vice president like about 10, 12 years ago. She used that lipstick on a pig story. But anyway, so they're taking a house. These sort of renovation people want to flip houses. They want to take a house, throw some paint on it, clean up the yard. Yeah, right on. Throw in an IKEA kitchen, throw in an IKEA bathroom, make it look a little bit modern, fix up the lighting, do things that are cheap.
Band-Aid solutions. Basically.
Band-Aids, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes people actually do really band-aid solutions like the bathroom vents and the kitchen vents that don't go outside. They just go into the walls. Like, what the fuck? Okay. Like, I mean, like,
or they're like sharing the vent.
Fuck. I mean, like, so as people doing those projects, they buy the house, it's older, dated, buy it, fix it, flip it, pocket profit, except the market's gone to shit.
Yeah.
So
it's not in their favor this time.
Like, there's a technical term we refer to this problem as. In the real estate business, we refer to this as you are fucked. Like it did. The market went against you and you're done. And guess what? There's nothing you can do. You had a plan.
Yeah.
You got a private mortgage, temporary 1-year mortgage, and your plan to flip it. And you did your little bit of renovation and market turned against you and
all went to shit now.
All went to shit. You can't get your money out.
Yeah.
So you stop paying. And the lender, we're going to find out. Like, remember I always talk about the famous graph. There's a famous graph. One line is fuck around, and the other axis is find out. Okay, so the lender, this one particular lender who's done all the private lender who's done this 27 filings in the last 7 days, 7 business days.
Yeah.
He is somewhere on that fuck around and find out axis. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. High up there.
The only bad news is that it's not owned by one person. So there's investors. There's human beings who invested in this company. And I'm just hoping things work out for them because they might have thought that the real estate was only going up forever. And maybe not.
Maybe that's why prediction is such a crap business.
Here's the thing. I think a lot of those people who got caught in that and are in these power sale actions right now, I think a bunch of them made money before. I don't think it was their first one. I guess maybe a couple of them was their first one, but I don't think it was their first one. So if you did one in 2015 and made money, did one in 2017 did money, did one in 2019 and made money, and
just kept it going.
So like you had you trained yourself to believe it would work, right? So now it's not working.
Sucks for them.
It sucks for them, but here's the deal. I see very few people who bought a house, qualified for the mortgage at a bank, and even if I see very, very, very few of those people who are in trouble. Okay? Very few. Hardly any. Like if you take the bank's default rates that proves it, hardly any. But I see everybody who was sort of in the obsession of real estate I need to buy my 4th rental and I need to do this rent and flip and I need to do all this stuff.
12 Airbnbs.
All 12 Airbnbs, 100%. So I think those are the people who are in a jam.
Screwed,
and should we feel sorry for them? Yeah, I feel sorry for anybody.
They're still human at the end of the day.
They're still human, 100%
Even though everybody's going to be like, well, fuck them.
Yeah, although I'm sure there's going to be, I'm guessing right now on the comments of this podcast, we're going to see about somewhere between 12 and 17. No, fuck them! greedy, fuck them all! Okay, all right, fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but we're allowed not to feel as angry about it. But I mean, I'm not going to say that it's a tragedy because they took a risk.
Of course.
And sometimes risks don't pay off. All right, I think we got some questions from the audience. It's question time.
Yeah.
See, I remembered to do it this week. You see, I remembered last week. I forgot the previous week, but I'm maybe I got more people keeping track of me because I don't think I think at 66, I don't think my memory's going to get better. Okay, like I mean, it's not going to get better, but we got it going this week. Go ahead.
So first one says, looks like we need a cosigner. I think my dad will do it, but he keeps talking about capital gains. What is that? Yeah,
that's a good one. First of all, let me start by saying we are theoretically not a big fan of co-signing because a lot of people don't realize that if you are a co-signer, the co-signers don't realize that even though they're signing on for a certain, they think they're signing on for a certain percentage of the mortgage, but they're not. Everybody on the mortgage is on for 100%. In other words, if one person stops paying, you can't tell the bank, hey, they stopped paying, but the two of us are going to keep going. The bank says, fuck yourself. No. You all owe all of it. Like every one of you is called joint and several. Every one of you owes everything.
Yeah.
And has to make the full payment.
Right.
Even if two out of three of you stop paying, we still want the other guy to pay full. Okay?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm worried that some people are signing up who shouldn't be signing up. But on the same token, a lot of people like to help their kids. And so what's this capital gain story? All right, here's what it is. On your primary residence, you have no capital gains implication. Like you can buy a house in 1990 for $169,000 and sell it for $1.8 million this year, and you're not paying a cent on that increase, not a penny. Okay, so that's on primary residence. So obviously, Dad in this case has got a primary residence,
Right.
So that's it. When he is considered like an investor.
Yeah.
When he signs on this thing, he's considered an investor. So he would be subject to full capital gains on sale. Here's what you do. There's an arrangement for title. Like there's always title holdings. Okay. So most people just have joint tenancy, which means that everybody's in, and God forbid one of the people dies, it automatically flips to the other person, but it's all joint. Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that. You could actually carve up the percentage of the house that you own. So if it's husband, wife, and dad, then we can carve dad down to just 1% of the ownership of the house. So when it's sold, yes, he'll have some capital gains implications. He will owe a tiny bit, but it'll be tiny,
Compared
tiny.
to full value.
Yeah, there's 99 over here and 1% over there.
Exactly.
So if the profit's $200,000, dad's only on the hook for 2 G's. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 G's, I think those guys could pay dad. Okay?
Yeah.
The tax is about $1,000 if that, but I'm just saying that you can mitigate that capital gains problem. So that's that story.
We want to buy some land up north and build a place someday. Our bank said they don't do that. Is that true?
Well, if the bank says no, they're probably, sometimes the bank says no and it's a bit of bullshit, but in this case, the bank is telling the truth. Okay. Banks are not designed anymore to lend on raw land.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. If you're a developer and you've got a track record and you've got millions of dollars, and you've got putting a ton of money down. Yeah. But for the average Joe who just says, I saw this, 100 acres for sale up in the middle of nowhere past Algonquin Park, and I think I want to buy it and build a place there, the bank's going to say no every time.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to get a loan for that. So there's very little loans for raw land because, who knows when you're going to build? What's it really going to be worth? What's the market for raw land? I mean, it's kind of minimal. So what do people do? You're screwed. Okay.
Unless you got the cash up front.
Unless you can pay cash.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, and for some good locations, some private lenders at really high rates, okay, will give you like 50% mortgage. Okay. But, not easy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the right approach anyway. What are you going to go up there, pitch a tent, in the summer for the first 10 years? I don't know if it's a good idea. What can I tell you?
Okay. My boyfriend says we should buy a house, but we've only been together for 10 months and not married. Is that even allowed?
Well, anything's allowed theoretically, right?
Yeah.
It's a question of if it's a good idea because like two strangers can buy a house together, believe it or not. Okay?
Right.
Which, by the way, for
Please
everybody
don't do it.
Yeah, some people can do it, but like I'm going to make a statement on that, okay?
Yeah.
We also got to remember that in Canada, 50% of mortgages end up in separation, right? Sorry, 50% of marriages end up in separation.
Yeah.
Where there's going to be an argument about who owns what percentage, we got to sell the house, or you buy it from me, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance that strangers may say the same thing. I mean, I think it's a higher chance. Like, so if 50% of people are actually sleeping together, okay,
and they can't figure it out.
They can't figure it out, then I'm not sure about strangers. But to get back to the idea about me and my boyfriend, so they're not really in the common law period, but theoretically, they could.
They could, yeah.
Absolutely, they could. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a great idea after 10 months? I don't know. Okay. I mean,
I wouldn't say so.
That's
my
all,
opinion.
It's all personal, but
Yeah.
the answer is yes, you can. Okay. But you better be very careful in your thought process. But absolutely,
sure.
If strangers can buy a house together, or friends, or business colleagues, or whatever can buy a house together, then you can buy a house together. That's allowed and it's possible. But
be careful.
Think hard. Okay. Think hard. All right. So. Some of the stuff we talk about on the show is repetitive, but that's because it's a developing story. We've talked about pre-construction sales, right?
Yeah.
We talked a lot about that. And We mentioned the fact that it looks like we saw some big problems with some of those files. People, what's pre-construction? You buy a house 2 years ago and now it's ready to go. Okay. And we've told some stories about some bad results people have been having. Well, the bad results seem to be continuing and amplifying. And here's something that I think is really important to think about. So we got some people who bought, I'll give you an example. Somebody who bought a 6-story condo. So mid-rise, call that a mid-rise. Not a high-rise, but it's not low-rise. Okay, so 6-story condo. And they've got to move in because it only takes 2 years to finish that stuff. 2.5 years, it's ready. Okay. And they already owned a condo. They bought from a good builder. They bought from Mattamy originally. They bought from Mattamy again. But they kind of expected that the value would be up significantly. And they kind of thought that rents would be up significantly. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder what the hell they thought because they're just describing it to me. And I say, well, have you done them? They said, we think we're going to need a mortgage because we got to do the, we've got the interim occupancy. So everybody has bought a condo. Interim occupancy is when they say your suite is ready, you can move in. As the builder says, you're ready, it's ready, move in. But we haven't got enough people in the building yet to form the condominium corporation, and that allows you to get your mortgage. Right. So we're going to charge you rent, and we're going to charge you it's based on an element of interest. Okay. By the way, that interest has gone way up, right? Yeah. Builder financing is based on prime. Prime is let's say 7.2 to 7.7. And so they want you to pay that kind of high rate. That's based on, that's your interim occupancy cost. They expect you to pay the rent. So in this case, it's going to be soon, right? Because it's mid-rise. Yeah. It's 6-story building. They're on the 6th floor. So it's going to be ready soon. It's going to be ready. So they're telling me, yeah, we're having a little bit of trouble renting out our old place. We want to move into the new place. A little bit of trouble renting our old place. So, what kind of trouble are you having? Like, no calls at all.
No way.
Oh, shit, yeah. No calls at all. Well, what are you offering it at? They gave a number. I said, whoa, that seems a little high for that condo out in the sticks. Okay. I mean, like, yeah. We've been studying Kijiji and stuff. And I think it's about $500 too high. What do you think we should do? I said, drop the fucking rent. Okay. Like Jesus H Christ. I mean, you gotta work with the marketplace.
You gotta work with what your options are.
That's exactly right. So they said, oh, we dropped the rent. Okay. And then we might get somebody. I said, yeah. And guess what? You're going to need to move into that place. That place is going to be ready for you. You're going to be paying on a mortgage there in less than 60 days. So if you don't want to have a whole bunch of double payments and no income, you got to figure out what the hell the rent works for that area. If it's not, if you're asking for 26, you got to come down to 21. If there's no takers at 21, you got to get to 19. You got to rent that thing. Yeah. Oh, there's a problem. I said, what's the problem? Oh, the problem is, even at $2,000 a month, I'll be losing money on the rent. Like my mortgage, my line of credit, the condo fees, the property tax. Yeah, I need at least $2,150 to break even. Okay. I said, well, okay, so we're back to the graph. Fuck around, you found out. My God. What math were you doing? Like, what did you think you're going to get like $2,800 for like a month for a 1-bedroom condo in the middle of nowhere? I mean, like, holy shit.
No
I mean,
way.
like, if you're doing something that's an investment, you better have a lot of certainty. You better have a big buffer. You got to have all that stuff, right?
And a safety blanket, because things are not always going to go your way.
And the real wild thing is, he said, they said to me, okay, Bill, like, how long do you think, when we got the interim occupancy, pay the rent, how long do you think it'll be? I said, well, you're on the 6th floor. It'll be soon. It'll be like 30 days, 45 days, 60 days tops. Oh, you mean it won't be like months and months? I said, fuck no.
Oh, my goodness.
You gotta,
These are details they need to know.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God.
Hey, listen, nothing's perfect in a new construction world. There's always delays and little uncertainties. Yeah. But you would think that you had your math cold, right? Like if you decided, I'm going to rent this one and move into this one, because you can't sell. Oh, here's the really, really interesting thing, the topper on all this. you normally, when you buy something and wait 2 years, historically, for the last 20 years in this country, you expected it to be worth more,
You're
right?
making money.
2 years later, you're in the green,
Of course.
You're not in the red, you're in the green. So they've looked at this place, they've looked at what they paid, they looked at the upgrades they took on the new place, and guess what? It's just worth exactly what they paid for it 2 years later. Exactly what they paid for it. Okay. Now, they've studied, they've looked around, and here's the really wild part. They were talking about, it looks like that our old building is really close to the new building, and it looks like some of the sales in our old building, which is only 2 years old, are 2 years older than this, because this one's 2 years, brand new, and that one's that one completed 2 years ago. It looks like some of them are cheaper, the same price or cheaper than the ones in the new building. And so, well, I guess that is the definition of fuck it. Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, by the way, these were nice people. I'm sorry if it sounds like I was being mean to them. Good folks.
It's just a shitty scenario, shitty situation.
But it's the danger. It's the danger. Like, why not sell that place? Sell the old place. Then you don't have any of these stresses. But, oh no, if I sell, I won't make as much money as I could have.
I mean, I'm sure the original goal was investment. Right?
No, it was. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. That was your plan.
It's just shitty to think that, they're going to have to sell or the fact that might even be an option just for them to be able to meet equilibrium, right?
But that's the real crux of it, right? It's like, if you've believed something, like if your parents told you, don't sell real estate, it always goes up. If your friends told you, if your family told you, your brothers, your sisters, if literally everyone told you, this is a sure thing. Well, when the day comes that it's not, okay, so I was being a little unfair. It's not really on the fuck around find out access because it's you don't think you're fucking around. Like literally everybody told you real estate never goes down. It's a great idea.
My cousin's brother's friend did it,
and they made 200 grand.
Exactly. Yeah. I know. It's not always picture perfect, unfortunately.
I guess it's just the difference between fortune and unfortunate, fortune and bad luck.
Yeah.
Bad timing. But here's what I do believe in investments. In investments, you need that safety blanket. You need the margin of, I can handle this. If it's a problem, I can handle it for a year, for 6 months, I've got backup. I've always believed that about investing. You've got to be conservative. You've got to have a plan, a backup plan. Anyway, it brings us to our favorite part of the program.
What the actual fuck?
So there's so many things to talk about. I could have devoted the what the actual fuck to the property tax madhouse that we're in today, but it's made me think. So we're on a lot of different platforms and social media. We put a lot of stuff out, and here's what I'm finding out lately. Lately, people get mad, or certain groups of people get mad about the fact that they say, "Hey, you social media fuckers, you people are posting all the time. I mean, all you do is you doom post, you shit post. You say, oh, things are bad in Canada. Things are bad. Well, we got millions of people trying to get into Canada, you fucker. Okay, Canada's good. Everything's good. Everything's fine. Why you're just shit posting? You're just doom posting for fucking clicks." And there's this one guy I know. He's a real he's a comical commentator. He's good. He's a good guy, but he always comments. This is what he says. He says, like, "I know you fuckers. You're just posting for licks and likes and fucking subscribes, you bastards." So, look, here's what I want to say. I put out into social media what I think is fucking true. Okay, it's an observation of someone in a business that is got a lot of exposure to real estate and housing and mortgages and everything else. So I put out that information. Okay, so if the general trend is shitty, then I'm going to tell the truth about it. Okay,
they just want to shoot the messenger. As always.
I realize the messenger is a big fucking fat target. Okay, I get that, but look. You want to say that I'm doom posting? You want to say that I'm, talking about everything going wrong, and that's why people like to read that? And yeah, I got to admit, sometimes I get some weird, I get weird posts that replies and things that make no sense. Like I get one of the ones that I just hate. I hate it, but I get, "Oh, you're right. But you must remember, it's the Rothschilds and the blue and those secret groups that really control the world. And this is their plan for you. It's the WEF's plan. You will own nothing and you will like it. Okay, like fuck that shit. Okay, like honestly, fuck all that shit. Yeah, everybody says the Rothschilds. I just know they're an anti-Semitic fucking lunatic. Okay, like I'm tired of that shit. I don't want any of those stupid. I mean, they're gonna keep coming because there's lots of people who think that shit.
People are just trolls because you said it. They're gonna come for you.
Fuck, and fuck y'all. Okay, but like, here's the thing. Yeah, some of the stuff I talk about is not about positive stuff, and that's not necessarily for eyeballs. Hey, I don't mind the eyeballs. We all got a little bit of ego, right? But for fuck's sakes, don't say it's the only fucking reason. Look around, for fuck's sakes. When I say the price of houses is batshit crazy in most of Canada, I'm just fucking right. Okay?
Yeah, it's just a fact.
It's just a fucking fact.
It's a fucking fact.
When I tell you that people are stressed by this crazy high interest, high inflation environment that we're in,
yeah,
it's just fucking true.
It's just news. It's the truth.
Now, people say, oh, well, you just don't have to repeat it all the time. Well, it's happening every fucking day.
Yeah.
And some of the shit gets worse every day, okay? Every week,
Literally.
some more bad shit happens. Hello, 10% property tax increase, 39% property tax increase for these poor fuckers in BC. Jesus Christ, okay? 27 power sales filed in 7 days by one company.
That's fucked up.
I don't think that's good, okay?
No.
And I don't think I can't make it good. I can't pretty it up. Well, maybe you should post more positive things. What the fuck's too positive running around here, okay? We got there's more demonstrations in the streets of Toronto than there is fucking feathers in a fucking jacket. What do you call those jackets?
The down jackets?
Yeah,
oh, the Canada Goose?
Canada fucking Goose, okay? There's more fucking demonstrations in Toronto about fucking horrible wars and horrible catastrophes across the world.
Shit going on.
So much shit going on. But look, like, I can't fix that. Okay.
You can't make it.
And it's factual. Like I'll be honest, I'm 66 years old. I've lived through a lot of shit. And in general, I've never seen people more genuinely pissed off in general. Okay. Am I wrong? I mean, you got younger friends. They should be more positive. Are they more positive?
No, we're fucked. What is there to be happy about?
What the fuck is there to be happy about? Well, compared with the poor bastards who are getting shelled in their homes, I guess there's lots to be happy about. You got to have a better perspective. But
it's a first world problem.
Yeah,
I'll admit that.
It's a first world. Yeah, it is a first world problem. Sure, but it's a fucking problem. Yeah. Okay, like there's nothing jumping out at us that we would say, "Oh, that's really good news."
No, absolutely nothing. And the city is like, "Oh, that's great."
But, oh, look, there's no more traffic closures downtown. All the streets in Toronto are open. Fuck that. None of them are open. Okay. They got more closed streets than open in fucking Toronto. Okay. Yeah. Like, holy shit. So yeah, sure. We can like our dogs and our cats. I mean, that's a nice thing. We come home. They don't care. Like they're happy to see, right? Everything's good with them. And that's good. I'm happy. But holy fuck. Like, I don't know too many wonderful fucking things going on
to report
Canada
about
today.
At least.
Yeah, no, I got not much to talk about.
No.
So for all those people who say, you fat fuck, you're just a doom posting bastard, like, fuck you all. Okay, seriously.
Just turn off your screen if it bothers you.
Yeah,
just walk away.
Yeah, just walk away. Just walk away. Turn the screen off. Go watch. Put something better on. Watch some porn on this phone or something, whatever you want to do, whatever makes you feel better. If that makes you feel better, great. But honest to God, okay?
And did they really expect happiness from angry mortgage?
Exactly.
Come on.
That's the fucking name of the fucking thing,
it's not fucking rainbows and sunshines, okay?
It's not unicorn piss mortgages, okay? I mean, that's not what it is. So, but I don't believe it. I don't agree with it. I'm providing fucking information. And by the way, I do give that little ray of sunshine. The rates are coming down for all you people renewing. Yeah. It's a good fucking thing.
Yeah.
But don't bust my balls because another 500 stupid fucking things are going on every day, and I'm going to talk about them, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
It's going to keep us going.
We're out for now. We'll see what more shit I have to complain about next week.
See ya.
See ya.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.